Education for giving me the opportunity to speak at this scholarship reception. I'm sure you can tell I'm much older than some of the students in here, so my story is going to take a long time. Hang in there. Before I do start, I want to reiterate what Tara said about getting scholarships. I'm here a recipient of 2 scholarships, so the message is very important. Please make sure you apply for every scholarship that you can. You never know what will come out of it. Today, I'd like to actually share my story and tell you how I ended up in the field of education. I'm a non-traditional student who is currently in school, ideally at an age when I should be thinking about retirement. Now, I'm not sharing my age, but I'll tell you I have 2 sons who are engineers. The older one has been working for 6 years, and I didn't have him till I was 22. You do the math. Women don't tell their age. What makes my story a little different from many others is that I've been in school forever. When I say forever, I mean 17 years after I graduated high school. This could mean 2 things. 1, I'm still working on deciding what I want to do when I grow up. Or 2, I'm truly passionate about learning and used every opportunity to learn more. In my case, it is a bit of both. I grew up in India and married a man in the military, so we moved often. Pursuing a career goal was not easy. My priority was raising a family, and I changed career plans to suit that goal. I'm just as passionate about learning. Since childhood, I've learned whatever I could, whenever I could. So how did I end up with so many years in college? In India, everybody goes to college after high school. In the 80s, boys went because they needed to have a career, and girls who were not required to have a career did to increase their prospects for marrying an educated man. Oddly enough, when I finished high school, I did not want to go to college. I loved planes and wanted to join the airline industry. I thought I could easily become an air hostess or what you call a flight attendant here. But I found out that even airlines in India preferred that you have a college degree. So I enrolled in the bachelor's degree in home science with a specialization in fashion design. I also realized, why be a flight attendant when you can fly a plane? So I started lessons towards a private pilot's license. The next 4 or 5 years, I put my fashion degree to use and worked in a garment industry designing clothes with a little hobby flying here and there. I also worked on a 5-year program in vocal music, just another one of my passions. After I got married, I could not keep up with the garment industry job because my husband and I moved so often. I had to find a new career, so I started teaching in a private school. It was my first teaching job that hooked me in the field of education forever. It showed me the rewards of inspiring young minds and instilling in them the desire to achieve their personal best. I quickly realized I loved teaching just as much as I loved learning. Inspired by the work, I began my bachelor's in education. While teaching, and soon after earned a master's in English and a diploma in art. Bottom line, none of these degrees were planned ahead, especially not when I finished high school. As we moved places, I picked different teaching assignments, science, English, music, art, and used the opportunity to learn more. I've been in education now for 20 years as a teacher and now an administrator. I taught in India for 7 years, and I'm completing 14 years as an employee in the Toledo Public Schools. The experiences of teaching in the 2 countries have been very different. I spent the first 2 years in the US as a graduate student at the University of Akron. When I was looking for a job, many people advised me to stay away from urban schools since I had no experience of teaching here. In fact, one of the questions during my interview was, how will you deal with students that do not want to learn and will call you mean? I took the challenge, and I'm so glad I did. Although I have to admit, I was a little scared. The first year as a teacher was hard and involved learning new ways of not only teaching, but also working in a new country. The staff and students at Burndale Junior High, my first school, were very helpful in making the transition so smooth. Interestingly, while I taught 7th, 8th graders home economics, or family consumer sciences as you call it, they taught me how to adapt to this country and how to pronounce words the American way. My experiences helped me realize numerous things. First, students across the globe are similar in many ways. It is important to establish a relationship with them before trying to teach them. My goal as a teacher remained the same, whether in India or in the US. I worked at inspiring my students to be hard workers and instilling in them the love for learning. I wanted them to focus on learning and not the grade. I believe if you enjoy what you learn and are immersed in it, the grades will follow anyway. Second, no learning is ever wasted. One should keep learning because you never know where and when you will use that. When I completed my degrees in education and English many years back, I did not know how important they would be in helping me live in the US. It is due to these two degrees that I was able to get a licensure in English and Family Consumer Sciences and retain my position in the school district. Lastly, one should never stop learning. I'm not suggesting going back to school like I did. I mean, attend in services, workshops, or even read on your own. Thanks to internet, we have access to an abundance of information so we can teach ourselves anything we want today. I'm a lifelong learner by choice, but in this day and age, I don't think it's an option anymore. Regardless of the field, advancements in technology and communication are changing the way we live and work. If it is our job in education to prepare students for the real world, we must learn with our students, accepting the fact that they will learn faster than us. I would like to end by sharing my career goals. I moved into administration 4 years back with the goal to be in a leadership position where I'm able to reach a larger number of students and make a significant contribution in secondary education. I'm particularly passionate about helping struggling students succeed in urban education. As I work on my doctoral dissertation, I would also like to use my research to impact policy and practices in education, especially career technical education. I'm extremely thankful to the Judith Erb College of Education for providing me the education needed to reach my goal, and my scholarship donors for providing the needed financial support. Thank you so much for investing in my future and the futures of many others that have received scholarship today. Without your financial support, we would not be able to fulfill our goals. This may be the end of a degree for some of us, but hopefully it's not the end of life.